It was supposed to be just another lunch, a wealthy father, his son, and a quiet table in the corner. But in less than a minute, everything changed. A black waitress stepped forward, guiding his disabled boy onto the floor for a single, gentle dance step. What should have been a moment of joy turned into something else entirely when whispers and cold stares filled the room. He thought he understood the world, until that day proved him wrong. For most people, Daniel Crawford was the man who had it all: private jets, glass-walled offices, and a name whispered in business circles with awe. But beneath the polished surface, he carried a quiet ache only a few knew about. His young son, Ethan, was born with a rare condition that made even the smallest movements a challenge. Weekends were their escape, just father and son, finding small joys far from boardrooms and headlines. That Saturday afternoon, they found themselves in a sleepy roadside town, the kind of place where the paint on shop signs had long since faded and everyone seemed to know each other SS stories. The diner smelled of fresh coffee and warm bread, the kind of comfort that made strangers feel welcome, or so he thought. He had no idea that inside those walls, a single ordinary act would pull back a curtain he'd never dared to look behind, and force him to see the world in a way he never had before. Daniel sat in the corner booth, gently spooning mashed potatoes onto Ethan's plate. The late afternoon sun cast a warm glow across the diner, and for a fleeting moment, it felt like peace. That's when she appeared, Leah, the waitress, carrying a tray with the grace of someone who'd done it 1,000 times before. Her smile was genuine, the kind that didn't care about money or status. But Daniel noticed something else: how her eyes softened when they landed on Ethan, how she crouched to his level and spoke to him like he was any other kid. Then came the moment that changed everything. Leah heard the soft jazz playing from the corner speakers and without hesitation extended her hand to Ethan. "Let's dance," she whispered. Ethan's eyes lit up. For a boy whose every step was a victory, the offer was magic. He slid from the booth, his small hand in hers, and together they moved, slow, careful, but full of joy. It should have been perfect. But Daniel felt it. The shift in the air. The chatter faded. Forks hovered above plates. From the counter, a man in a trucker cap muttered something under his breath. Another patron narrowed his eyes, his expression twisting into a smirk. A couple near the window exchanged glances that weren't just curious. They were judgmental. Daniel didn't catch every word, but he didn't have to. The tone was enough. Leah seemed to notice too, but she didn't let go of Ethan's hand. She kept moving with him, her back straight, chin high. And that's when the whispers grew louder. Words like inappropriate and out of place floated through the air. Someone chuckled under their breath, the sound sharp enough to cut. Daniel's chest tightened. These weren't just idle stares. They were the kind that stripped away dignity, that made a human moment into something forbidden simply because of who was sharing it. Ethan didn't hear. He was too focused on placing one careful foot after another, his face glowing with pride. But Daniel heard, and he saw. The way Leah's smile wavered for half a second. The way a man near the jukebox shook his head in disapproval. Daniel felt an unfamiliar heat in his stomach. Not the kind that comes from embarrassment, but from anger. It was the realization that for all his money, all his influence, he couldn't protect his son from this. And worse, he couldn't protect Leah from what came next. Because in that moment, a voice from the far side of the diner called out, sharp, mocking, and aimed like a weapon. The voice sliced through the diner like a blade. "Guess you're teaching him early. Dancing with the help," a man sneered from across the room, his words dripping with venom. A few chuckles followed, low and ugly, the kind that carried centuries of poison. Daniel froze. The word help wasn't about her job. It was about her skin. Leah's shoulders stiffened, but she didn't look up. She only tightened her grip on Ethan's hand. The boy stumbled slightly, confused by the sudden heaviness in the air, but Leah steadied him, refusing to let the moment die. Then came another voice, louder, crueler. "Bet his mom's proud. letting him touch that. This time, Daniel saw Ethan's smile falter. His son didn't understand the full weight of the words, but he understood tone. The joy in his eyes dimmed, replaced by something Daniel had prayed he'd never see: shame. Something inside Daniel snapped. He stood, his chair scraping the tile, the sound jolting the room into silence. His instinct was to shout, to tear into every single person who thought they had the right to turn love into something dirty. But when he looked at Ethan, small, vulnerable, searching his father's face for an answer, Daniel realized this wasn't about winning an argument. This was about showing his son, and everyone watching, that dignity cannot be stolen. So he walked to the center of the diner, stood beside Leah and Ethan, and placed his own hand over hers. Together they finished the dance in silence. No music now, just the sound of shuffling feet and Daniel's heart pounding in his ears. He could feel every glare burning into his back. He could feel the hatred. But more than that, he could feel the fear in the room. Not his, theirs. Because for the first time, they were being forced to see something they couldn't unsee. When the final step was taken, Leah released Ethan's hand with a gentle squeeze. Daniel could see the tears she was holding back, not because she was ashamed, but because she had refused to let them win. The room remained still for a moment, and then life resumed as if nothing had happened. Orders shouted to the kitchen, forks scraping against plates. But for Daniel, nothing was the same. They left the diner without another word. Outside, the sun was still shining, the air still warm, but it all felt different. Ethan clung to his father's hand, quieter than usual. Daniel knew his son might not remember every detail of what happened, but he would remember the feeling. The way people's eyes can make you small, the way silence can be just as cruel as words. That night, Daniel sat alone, thinking about the decades he had spent in boardrooms, insulated from the realities others faced daily. He thought about Leah, how many times she had walked through life with that same quiet strength, how many times she had been forced to swallow the same poison. And he thought about the people in that diner, how quickly they had turned kindness into something ugly. This wasn't just about a dance. It was about the world we've built. The unspoken rules that say who belongs where, who can share a moment, who is allowed to be seen as human. Maybe Daniel's billions couldn't change what happened that day, but his voice could. So can yours. Because the truth is, racism doesn't just live in history books, it lives in moments like these. And the question we all have to answer is, when you see it happen, will you stay silent or will you stand and dance?